before heading back to Florida and Orlando. Challenging part of the schedule, and this is where they need to...
Let's see what you got, son.
Oh, I got plenty.
Looking at the last game for Orlando, it was a loss to the Thunder in Oklahoma City.
And I think the sort of issues they had on defense, in part at least, was a bigger factor. Really compounded, I think, because it was on the road. You have to be sharper when you go out and play as a visitor.
Yeah, everything has to be tight. You can't be loose in any aspect of your game. You're fighting against the crowd and the opponent. You've got to be tougher mentally and physically if you're going to win on the road.
And so in the game for the Magic, Nicholson is the 4 with Vucevic at the 5. At the 2 and 3, it's Oladipo and Tobias Harris. And it's Payton in at the 1 spot. Mr. Clutch, he's checked in for Payton.
A theme that has unfortunately come up for this Orlando franchise is their inability to keep a franchise talent for long. Of course, you think both about Shaq and Dwight Howard and their exits. Boy, we don't see that too often. No defender on him, and he just clanks the open jumper.
Nicholson passes to Mr. Clutch. With the shot. No good off the front iron.
Well, they'll give him that shot. He doesn't have the most reliable jump shot in the world. We know that.
And that one's good.
Boy, great job of attacking on the break.
Yeah, it sure was. He made a beeline for the bucket as soon as they got the ball. Right away, straight to the rim.
Out to Harris. And there's the pass to Mr. Clutch. Oladipo for 3. Can't hit. And it's the Spurs taking it the other way. They come into this having outplayed the Clippers last game.
That was a heck of a performance for them offensively. There were some stretches there where it just seemed like everything was falling for them.
And it wasn't by accident they shot it that well. Their ball movement was excellent. That was the key to me.
And Leonard gets it to go.
Well, he's been working hard to get good looks, and it's paying off for him early.
The Magic trail by 3. Clark, some tough offensive sets. They want to turn it around.
Yeah, they need a basket just to regain some momentum here, Kevin.
Nicholson dishes to Oladipo. Fires from the line, and that is good. Oladipo's got his first points of the night.
Hasn't been able to get it going offensively. It's been a slow start for him.
Ginobili kicks to Duncan. To the wing on the left. Parker with it. Now defended by Mr. Clutch. Back to Parker. Clock at 6. And it hung on the rim, but wouldn't fall for him. Mr. Clutch, the pass to Nicholson. Some nice ball movement by the Magic. Back to Oladipo. Vucevic with it. He's against Splitter. Pass to Mr. Clutch. From 13 feet, it goes down.
And he was one step ahead of the defense when he fired that pass for the assist.
San Antonio trailing here. Duncan high post. Manu Ginobili on the wing. Puts up a 3. Nicholson grabs the board. Nicholson's got his 3rd rebound tonight. On its way from Oladipo for 2. Both teams have it going here early and still close. For Matt Bonner. The Magic also changing it up. Vucevic comes in for Channing Frye. And it's Mr. Clutch in for Payton. Diaw and Duncan at the 4 and the 5. Mills out there with Green. And it's Bellinelli in at the small forward. For the San Antonio 5. And just over 3.5 minutes played here in the second quarter.
Evan Fournier out of France struggled with his shot early last season, but he rallied somewhat down the stretch. Still very young with an impressive skill set. He's definitely a player to watch.
Off the pick. That one's good, and the Magic lead is cut down to just 2 points on the bucket from Green.
He had a whole lot of space to get that shot off.
Yeah, I don't think the defender did a good job there of getting over the top of the screen.
Mr. Clutch, the pass to Harkless. Here's Mr. Clutch. Orlando gets it back. Here's Vucevic. Tough sequence there. They just couldn't get it to fall.
They've been able to get out to this lead without really getting a very reliable performance out of him from the field.
Mills with it, averaging 9 points per contest. The drive by Green. That ties the game. Green's got 7 points.
And you talk about Fournier's skill level. I mean, pretty crafty penetrating and finishing around the rim. And he's also been a good three-point shooter in the NBA from day one.
And Doris Burke has something for us. Hey, Doris.
Well, last season, the Spurs made history, becoming the first team to finish a season with every player averaging under 30 minutes a game. Pop said, "We've been resting guys since I've been here. I think it extends their careers." Kevin, the league once fined the Spurs $250,000 for resting their stars, but the rings speak for themselves.
And surprising that more teams don't adopt that approach, Doris. Thank you. And Steve Fournier doesn't separate himself with his athleticism, but he can be elusive.
Well, he understands hesitation and using angles to get inside. I think that speaks to his ball handling and offensive instincts. You know, he can be very fun to watch.
Three-pointer, good. Now it's a 3-point Orlando lead.
They're hovering around 50% for the game in three-pointers. That's pretty good, but they've really elevated here in the second quarter.
Now Mills. Inside. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact and he'll shoot 2.
In the second quarter, they've had the right approach. Very aggressive, driving, drawing contact, and creating opportunities at the free throw line.
Well, you know, if other things aren't working for you, Steve, getting to the foul line can be a good place to start to turn it around.
Here's what San Antonio's going with right now. Splitters checked in for Diaw. Leonard comes in for Marco Bellinelli. And Tony Parker is subbed in for Daniel Green. Here's Mr. Clutch. Fires, high post. Again, the Magic score. Second quarter in.
Well, Tim, and looking...
All right, listen up, everybody. The second half doesn't have to be as close as the first. If we...
And it's been a back-and-forth game so far with no ground.
All right.
Antonio. Matt Bonner, he's checked in for Splitter. Diaw comes in for Duncan. And it's Green in for Kawhi Leonard. So Orlando going with an almost entirely new group here. Channing Frye's checked in for Vucevic. Gordon comes in for Nicholson. Maurice Harkless is checked in for Harris. And Fournier subbed in for Oladipo. So on the floor for Orlando. Gordon out there with Mo Harkless. Then there's Channing Frye. Then there's Payton. And it's Fournier in at the shooting guard.
Guys, he shot a very good percentage today, and they've needed it.
Mr. Clutch, he's checked in. Mr. Clutch. Now let's bring up the 2K leaderboard so we can see and check out some of the most feared defenders in the league. The steal leaders among shooting guards. The 4th spot held down by Manu Ginobili.
Well, this is a very intense group. You know, those steals haven't come by accident. They've gotten them through the effort they're willing to expend on that aspect of the game.
Right on. I mean, they're lockdown defenders, all of them. As gritty a group of guys as you can have on the perimeter. Danny Green, a nice find by the Spurs as a 3-and-D role player. The Spurs always seem to find those kind of guys. The mid-second round pick was Green. He got waived by the Cavs, spent some time playing abroad. Now he holds the record for three-pointers made in the finals.
Here's what San Antonio's going with right now. Tim Duncan, who's checked in for Matt Bonner. And it's Bellinelli in for Manu Ginobili. Parker drives in. And it's out of bounds. The Spurs able to retain possession here. Mills, he's checked in for San Antonio. And the Magic making a change here as well. Harris is checked in. Here's Duncan off the inbound, and it's going to be out of bounds. The Magic will take it.
These past few weeks, you can see how San Antonio stacks up. 3rd in fewest turnovers per game. 5th in three-point field goal percentage. And they are in the top 10 in field goal percentage. This is a team that shows excellent discipline at the offensive end.
And I love that number, Clark, 3rd in fewest turnovers per game, because that's a sign of a well-coached team, very disciplined. They share the basketball. Their spacing is good. They've got a good plan of attack every game. So the players know where each other is, and that just allows for much better offensive execution.
And for Danny Green, guys, quality defender at either wing position. And, you know, Steve, as you like to say, a floor spacer offensively.
That's right. Two-way guys, Kevin. Two-way players. That's what the playoffs are all about. You think about the success Green has had the last couple of seasons, defending star players at one end, knocking down big threes at the other. Wow, what a player he's become.
Count that one.
You know, when he scores buckets like that, Kevin, it just shows that he can bring some of that X factor for his team.
And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot two.
And now a moment here to take a look at some of the stats for Duncan. He's putting up 13 points a game, 9 rebounds and 2 assists. He's been a rock in the middle for them over that stretch of games, dominating the glass in his trademark fashion.
Yeah, and all the rebounds he's been getting in those games have had a cumulative effect on the opponent. I mean, he'll wear you down physically and mentally with that rebounding work.
It seems like so many teams try to ignore that mid-range jumper, but they're using it well, and it's opening up their offense for them.
Has definitely given the defender something extra to have to worry about.
Harris against Duncan. Here's Mr. Clutch. He's got 13, 5 to shoot. Harris passes to Mr. Clutch. Here's Fry, banked in off the glass. Fry's got 4 points in the quarter.
Did you see the defense get caught standing around that time, giving up an easy second chance bucket?
Simply need more of an effort on the boards there, Steve.
That's a 2 from Bellinelli. No good on that last second attempt there. And a great show through 3 quarters as we enter the fourth. Who will carry the day? Magic lead by 6. And coming up as soon as we return from break, checked in for the Spurs. Green comes in for Tim Duncan. Orlando making some changes.
Well, tonight's battle is going to end with a very clear winner, leaving nothing to chance. An impressive win for the Magic.
They found a great rhythm from long range.
They sure did, Kevin. Every time they left a man open deep, you get a good look at the basket. And they didn't hesitate, and the aggressiveness paid off.
And so that moves their record to 11 wins on the year.
Well, one thing about this win, it assures that they will not lose the season series. They only meet once more, of course, as interconference opponents.
And, Steve, when it is just a 2-game season series, the team winning game 1 has a bit of an edge going into the second meeting, knowing they've already solved their opponent one time and only have to do it once more.
In the backcourt, Parker and Ginobili. Green out there with Kawhi Leonard. And it's Diaw in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. That's the San Antonio 5.
Boy, they're extending their lead. It kind of feels like they're just piling on here as we come to an end.
Well, hey, let's just call it what it is. They are trying to run it up on them.
Parker drives in. Ginobili dishes to Leonard. That shot's good on the assist by Ginobili. 9 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Here's Mr. Clutch from deep. Misses the shot. And so it's Orlando taking this one by a big margin.
Well, Nick, what can you